Welcome to Conversations with Personal Finance Champions, where we talk with leaders in the space of people contributing toward economic empowerment through financial education. Today, we have a great guest, somebody I'm very fond of, have a high degree of respect for, Miss Evelyn Magley. She is the founder and CEO of the basketball league TBL. She's been expanding rapidly over the years, doing some great things across this country and through Canada, expanding professional basketball. Now, some of you may be wondering, what the heck is a CEO of a professional sports team doing on here? Well, she does some great things in the space of financial literacy as well, really focus on helping to empower players, the teams, and the general communities. It's an honor to have you. Welcome, Evelyn.
Thank you so much, Vince. I just want to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to tell the story of TBL and also BSL now, and just for the opportunity to share more about what we do and how we implement financial literacy within both leagues.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're doing. And I know the question people have is, why is a professional basketball league so committed to financial literacy? And why was this really a part of your initial founding of this organization?
It's very important because it is really a fundamental skill of life. And our purpose goes beyond the court. Our young men need to know and understand how to have life skills that will help themselves and help their children for legacy. And one of the things that we're missing, I think, in particularly in the United States, is the financial literacy piece, regardless of whether it deals with athletics or whether it deals with individuals that are in entertainment or whether you're an engineer or, it doesn't matter who you are. It's that fundamental basic skill of how to handle your finances is lacking in this day and age. So it's important that we have this as a basic life skill for all of our players, our coaches, and teams in the communities there within.
I think that's so important. And yeah, it is not taught in schools. And I love the focus of, hey, it's not just the players on the court, like you said, but it's also off the court. I did a little research as to our first conversation,
Mhm.
and it was 5 years ago in October, so coming up. And just a little backstory on Evelyn, typically my initial calls are 15, 30 minutes to feel somebody out, see if, there's any interest or in working together. And I remember our first call was like an hour, hour and a half, and went way over. And I think that's been a common theme with all of our conversations, always going well beyond. So if you're listening here, you may be here for a while, but it's always been very productive, always focus on things. And one thing I really loved about Evelyn when we first met is she asked the right questions and she really vetted us out intensively and went through programs, went through and reviewed materials. And it was an intensive review process, but it really made me understand her heart, right? She has a heart of an educator. She has a heart of an empowerment person. She really cared about the players in the communities. And I really appreciated that when you did that. And I want to get these qualities of your organization correct because TBL and now BSL is really built around respect, education, self-worth, leadership, health, and family. I think that's a wonderful mission. Now, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and why you felt it important to build a professional basketball league around those values?
Uh, because that's what our community needs. Our young men that participate in this game of basketball are from the communities typically that they're playing on the teams. So they're typically from those communities. And so having these values and standardizing that across the league, I know although it's hard to show a positive, it will positively impact the lives of not only the players, but the entire community. The league itself is using basketball as a tool to show love to community. And within that, I believe educating is very important. I'm a retired music teacher, and a great part of education, you have to be in a accredited school, a program that meets requirements, that has standardization. And the thing that I liked about NFEC is because you're standardized. I looked at that curriculum that you have, and I thought, oh my goodness, every T's crossed, every I is dotted. And I thought, this is a beautiful curriculum that can be shared within communities that everyone can learn from, not just the players, but an entire community that really needs that financial literacy part. So, yes, I like having it as a life skill for our players, but I think it's important not just for the players, but for the community as a whole. So, kind of roundabout.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. And, it's interesting when we started, when the conversation started, I liked your focus really top down, right? Making sure you had your executive team trained going through the certified financial education instructor course. Then it was the management team of the coaches and the individual teams. And I know you've grown a lot since that, and you're 40 plus teams now, and big growth since when we started. But I like that top down approach. And through that, I felt that the players were getting involved. There's a lot of different opportunities for workshops and things like that. Now, it must be challenging because players are busy. They're working.
Right.
They have different schedules. They're focused on. What were some of those challenges, and what did you do to really try to overcome some of those challenges?
Well, the challenge is always time. It's time, and then also understanding. Time meaning that our players, some of them work full-time jobs or part-time jobs uh, and they're playing basketball at the same time, and they have a family, or they don't have a family, but they're responsible for different things that are going on in their lives. So it's trying to find the time that works for everyone on a team to be able to meet, go through the classes, and learn and educate. The other is understanding, is sharing and allowing the young men to know that they need the financial literacy. It's funny because in the world that we're living in, I have found that a lot of times people don't know what they don't know, or they don't know what they actually need. And so getting an understanding and presenting something in a way that allows them to see the need for financial literacy. Uh, Example, a player gets paid, he gets a check. Maybe it doesn't go in by direct deposit. That player might take that check and go to a pay cash place, spend money to get the check cashed,
Yeah,
15, 20%, whatever. They're so happy to go get that check cashed. When they don't know that you can go to the bank and cash that check on the bank it's drawn on. You can open a banking account. And the money that you would have spent on getting it cashed through a check cashing place, you can actually now take those dollars. It may seem like pennies or dollars, but you can take that and invest it now back into yourself and invest that in something that's going to draw more money. So it's educating because maybe that's the only thing they've seen. Not all players, but some may have only seen, oh, you get a check, you go to a check cashing place. A great percentage of the young people nowadays, they haven't even been inside of a bank. It's
yeah,
shocking. But now, okay, you're going to go and get a car. You want to buy a car, but you don't have a relationship with any bank. You don't have a bank account. Or you're going to pay cash for that. You're going to need to get a loan. What is your credit rating? And now they have to, oh my goodness, I have to qualify for certain interest rates, etc. And these are things that are part of financial literacy. And that's why it is so important that we let them know that they don't know what they don't know.
I like that. I like that. And I also like the fact that you pointed out very timely events that are happening to them right now, right? These are timely things. I'm getting a check. What do I do? I want to buy a car. What do I do? And I think that's one of the beauties of your program is it really is addressing these time-based needs they have so they can actually take what they're learning in the classroom and apply them in real time. And when there's a sense of urgency or where, hey, I need to do this now, people seek information,
Mm.
right? And so I love how that's really addressing those time needs, but also exposing them to other things of growth and things. And I just want to go through, and there were some quotes from some of the players. I want to skip ahead to this, and I'll go back to what we're talking about here. But other thing I really liked is the players that are taking this information, not only applying it in their lives, but also sharing it with others.
Yes.
So, yeah, please.
Vince, what I really like about NFEC is that you allow a safe place. Number one, when you become a certified financial education instructor, you're certified, and within that training, you're taught to have transparency. And so that when you are working with the young men, they know that they're in a safe place, a place where they can trust the individual that's teaching them the curriculum. So now they can ask the questions and find out in a way that is safe to get some answers that maybe they may have been hesitant to even ask or may not even known to have asked. So I love that because that uh, helps you to be able to teach as a retired teacher. Your students have to be able to trust you in order to, uh, I think, make the biggest impact on their lives. So your program allows that through the training that those certified instructors now know how to approach the various individuals uh, and not judge them.
That's a big point. The
Not
embarrassment. The, why don't I know? I'm dumb because I don't know this. Other people get it. Excellent, excellent point. And I think it's really breeding, these younger players into, people that could be great advocates for the community. Going to some of the quotes that people said that are really focused, that stuck out to me because it's not just empowerment of the players. I'm thinking 2, 3 levels down, multi-generational and things like that. What
exactly.
will the impact be? Chitty Golden, we know Chitty, great guy.
Yes.
I'm taking what I learned and sharing it with my friends and those around me. Desmond McIver, I'm building up as much knowledge so I can benefit myself and my teammates and my peers with as much as I know. Carl Snyder of the Bighorns. I have a younger cousin who looks up to me, and one of the things to try to teach him is how to be good with money.
Yes.
You know, these young men are influencers. Their family, their friends, their relatives, the community, junior TBL players look up to these guys. And I just want to ask, how does it make you feel knowing this, this baby you created, this TBL and expanding to the BSL and these other things, is having that type of impact, not only on the players, but the spillover effect? How does that make you feel knowing that you really led this?
It makes me feel that I feel great, but I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like at this point, they're almost like they're grown men. I'm trying to make an impact, and I feel like I should have caught them back here. But the basis is that the basketball is really what their desire is. But
Yeah.
once they become involved with the basketball, now I have their attention and maybe I can make that impact. In fact, in your last question, one of the things that we did, Vince, was we made a competition when it came to the financial literacy, and we had a lot more involvement when they were competing for the opportunity to win prizes, to win money or gift cards, that then they could take that and invest it in. In fact, Chitty Golden actually his winning, he took that and invested it into some things that were going to have a return for him. And he's
Oh, that's great
really
to hear.
excited about that. He could have taken it and just went out and spent it. Oh, but he told me, Miss Magley, I took that and I invested it. And I thought, wow, he really got it. He really got the point. And if you can make an impact even on one person's life, then he's going to in turn share that with his community, with his family, and now generationally, it may not be hundreds of thousands, but you're starting to make a little dent, and it just takes a few that will then continue to grow and help to make an impact um, on a national and even worldwide basis. So,
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of that competition, that was one of our conversations that got way ahead of us. It was it, it started out with like Evelyn's idea of creating a competition was like, okay, we're going to do this, and it expanded to like 60 different activities for them to do, things for the teams, things for the players, scoreboard. Everybody gets 2 points
exactly.
for a certain thing. That was one of those that just expanded rapidly, but it was a great experience, I think, for everybody involved, including myself, and me talking with the winners of that award too. And I also like that you built in things that really tied it in with basketball. You had, I believe it was your sponsor was the ring sponsor company. I forget their name, but if you want
Mhm.
to give them a plug here, what's their was
The
it
what? The what
the
sponsor?
ring sponsor, the
Oh,
ring
Baron Rings, of course, Baron, yes.
Aaron Rings, of course,
They got
Baron
an
Rings.
MVP, yes, he's got his MVP ring, and he's very proud of it, and that's another thing is to be rewarded for something that is off of the court.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's more than just basketball, and I like the fact that, they could compete in other ways. Uh, Everyone that's playing the game of basketball doesn't mean they're one dimensional. And I know you're aware of that, but we have young men that are artists, that are engineers, that have their master degree in education, that some of them are uh, artists where they sing or they rap, and they're more than just one dimensional. And this allows those that are interested to be able to show their competitive edge when it comes to a financial literacy. So, yeah, this is something that has totally impacted those lives, and I know we want to continue to do that, in the future.
Yeah, I agree. And just going back to that competition, I think that really came from you understanding the players, right? You understood that competition is one thing that drove them a lot, and the themes and so forth built out were all related to basketball. The Baron ring, the champion, it was a cool looking ring too. The cash award, the recognition, but also the various components that were there because you knew your audience, not just on a little level, even coming down to the point system. It wasn't 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. It was 2 and 3 points because basketball's 2 and 3 point game, right?
Yes.
So even those little details, I think, made that really align with what they were doing as players. And I just thought that was just a great initiative. But it really came down to you knowing your audience and what motivated players. And in just to give advice to other financial educators out there, maybe you can share with them just a few tips on how to get to know your audience on a deeper level as you have.
Well, I would say take time, listen, uh, go to the communities that are within the league. Every community has its own demographics. Uh, you need to know what's important to the individuals that are there. What is it that they're missing? Having partners within that community that have the same values and aspirations and visions, and pairing with them to be able to do that. And in some communities, you have banks that uh, they have financial literacy, but they want to partner with those CFEIs to be able to have a business or a school or a nonprofit that comes in and that's interested in financial literacy. Our CFEIs, they can send them out to those organizations as a point of reference to be able to meet the need that that nonprofit or that corporation is looking for. That's one of the things that I like. Uh, One of the other things is that the program itself is built in such a way that it educates the players and the people within the community by different learning styles. For example, you have audio, you have audio visual, you have videos, so that those that are visual learners, these things are important to me. They can not only hear, but they can see, and they have examples and samples within that curriculum to be able to learn the processes that are necessary in order to understand what they're learning in that financial literacy. I would say knowing your audience would be to know the corporations that you're working with within a community, uh, developing a relationship with them to see how can uh, you meet the needs of what that corporation is trying to do with financial literacy. What are the nonprofits in the area? Are they looking? In fact, we need to talk about this. I have university here in town that's looking for an opportunity for financial literacy that needs a curriculum. There are people that are looking in communities that know what they need. Everybody doesn't know, but some of them know what they need. They just aren't aware of what is available. And so seeing what the needs are, communicating, talking, having meetings, and just establishing a relationship, I think is the main thing. Once you establish the relationship, then you can communicate and find out exactly what the needs are, whether it's for elementary or whether it's for your junior high. Is it for a corporation? Is it for a nonprofit? And how are they going to implement that within the programs that they have? That's what I would do, and that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, well said. I think, yeah, you do a great job of understanding not only the players, but there's other stakeholders, as you pointed out. It's not just the players, it's the nonprofits, the faith-based, the colleges, those other people in the community you're serving, and you're balancing out, hey, how you can benefit them. It's not just like a financial literacy 101 class. Here it is, right? You're understanding their needs, being more of a empathetic consultant, right? Where you're understanding
Right.
their pain points, their needs. How do I adjust that? And you mentioned, the end user, the learner, could be the players, could be the community. You mentioned the partners, the nonprofits, faith-based, et cetera.
Mhm.
And you also mentioned the funding source. I think those three go well together. And if you can really create those win-win-wins like you have through this initiative, that's a great thing. And I also like to point out, it's like partners like Evelyn is who you want, right? And there's different levels of partners. When I started out, I was always just giving away presentations, just trying to serve the community. And some people would say, okay, yeah, you come by and talk. I'm like, okay, go by, and it's like they're really not doing anything. The classroom's a mess. It's just like the kids aren't going to get much out of it because the teacher, whomever brought me in, wasn't that passionate about it. But you talk with somebody like Evelyn, and going back to our first conversations, like, this is so important. I want financial literacy education. This needs to be a core thing. How can we work together? Those are the partners that we look for. And Evelyn and her whole staff has been a great partner in that sense. I'm appreciative of that.
Well, one of the goals, Vince, as I'm thinking about this, it is really to educate the players in such a way because the players make such an impact on the youth. And like I was saying, I'm catching them, they're grown men. I want to catch them back here. Well, the vision is that they will have the financial literacy and learn the skills and become fully accredited and certified. So now those players, when they walk into a classroom, they've got the young people's attention
Yeah.
because he plays basketball. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's like if I say it, they hear me. But if that player comes in and says, financial literacy is really something that you need, and this is what it is, and this is how it works. And it can be as simple as, oh, you saved your money and you bought a pair of basketball shoes for $150 and you wore them one time, and then you basically don't want to wear them again because if you wear them again, they're going to get dirty. And now 4 years later, they're dry rot.
Yeah.
Okay. How many pair of those shoes have you invested in that in 5 years, had you taken that same money and placed it in a place that can give a return? And whether that's a parent setting up an account for the young people, um, how much could they actually earn that in 5 years they're not stuck with dry rot? They're actually, you know, getting a return on what they've invested in. It's a mindset. It's not just learning the numbers. And this is something that I think is so good because your program offers that, and it gives examples so that everyday things that you're doing, it becomes a part of your thinking. It should be a part of your being. And this is something that has to be taught, because if you don't teach it, it's hard to squeeze that in later. So
True.
by teaching it to the players, who then the light bulb goes on and somebody's at home, they're able to then focus in on those young people and let them know, because they will hear them. The player said it's important, it must be important. And that's the way the mindset is with the youth. They're like, wow, he jumped 5 times and did the shot. I'm going to jump 5 times. I mean, you've got young people that are on YouTube that are looking at Steph Curry, trying to figure out how is he moving. Can you imagine now if you take that platform as a player that's locally based, that's not just throwing a shoe and walking off, but is actively involved in youth clinics and in that community. And then you have a financial literacy clinic for young people along with a youth basketball. Now you're impacting lives and you're going to catch their attention. You just have to catch their attention. Once you get their attention, you can change lives. The basketball is the thing that catches the attention, but then you layer it in with the financial literacy that allows them to get their eyes open to how important this is as a life skill.
Once you catch their attention, you can change lives. I love that
Yeah.
quote from you. I might use that a few times, but I'll give you credit. But you have so many golden nuggets in there, about money being largely behavioral and about the impact of these influencers. And if we look at influencers today, I mean, how are kids influenced? Advertisements, right? They're all getting them to buy the cool latest thing so they can be up at par with their peers. You have the influencers that are sharing some are good, right? They're sharing the hard work, the dedication. Others are, more the luxury, lavish, the rewards of that. And then they're not showing the hard work. I like those people that show the hard work.
Right.
And these young men have built up esteem within their community because a lot of kids want to be professional athletes, right? And there's now a new path with TBL and the Basketball Super League as well, for them to not have to go out of the country to be professional athletes if they don't make the NBA or whatever. There's now opportunity for them within their community and to be of service. And I think that's a huge aspect there. And I did find it, going back to a comment you mentioned earlier about the diversity of players. And I remember at your combine back a couple of years ago was an amazing experience for me. And, I met kids right out of high school. They're coming out on professional basketball dream. They're super excited, fresh out of high school, a few hairs on their face, but they're young, right? Then you had your players that were kind of getting up there in age where this is their last opportunity. You had some people that were former professional basketball players. You had some people, with careers. You had some people that were doing side hustles to focus their time on basketball. So
Mhm.
interesting the different people you had there. And one of the things that stood out to me, and I'm going to transition this into the experiential learning event that you really created for them, was a conversation I had with a young man. I forget his name, but peak fitness of his life. Well dressed, well spoken, 6'6", 6'7", and he was getting ready for the interviews you had them do with the different team
Yes.
managers. And
Yes.
I remember talking with him, and he wasn't the only one, but he was exceptionally nervous. Right? He was so nervous to go have these interviews. And I don't know if his hands were sweaty, but he was rubbing his legs a lot. And, I can just see the nerves. I'm trying to calm him down. Just go there. So it was it. But the next day, I saw him on the court, so confident, leading the group, vocal,
Yes.
just a very
Yes.
exciting player. And it was just
Yes.
the comparison between the two. But you did something before they went into that event where I think you really created this into an experiential learning event, not only with the interviews but how you prepared them for that, and you're teaching them some basics they don't learn in school. How to
Yeah.
shake your hand, how to sit up straight, how to look somebody in the
Yes.
eye, how to
Yes.
talk professionally, how to share what your vision, your goals are, to be honest. And you gave a great presentation as an opening where I thought it was very experiential, because then they go in and have these interviews and they're getting that practice.
Yes.
But I think it points to the fact that you're maximizing every contact point you have for these players and these teams for these types of education and experiential type of learning.
Yes.
That
Yes.
just stood out to me, and I just want to get your thoughts on those, your thoughts behind that, and how others
Well,
can maybe think through that.
I really get excited about the interview. The event is the night before, we have 2 days of a combine situation. The individuals that have signed up to participate in the combine get an invitation, a professional invitation, to come to something called the interview. And that interview is a learning event. They receive an invitation, and then after the invitation, they receive about 20 points of information concerning how to interview, with videos on what to wear, how to speak, how to talk, how to address someone, and to understand that when you're going to an interview, you are also the individual who is interviewing. It's not for you to be nervous as much as you need to find out which team, which coach, which situation is best for you. Are they in the area that you want to live? How much do they pay? What type of system do they run? What type of coaching staff do they have? Do they have a chaplain? Do they have individuals that are trainers that work with the team? You have to also interview while you're being interviewed. So everyone at that event is interviewing. And I tell you, Vince, I try to prepare them, even, by sending out all of the information in the emails where they can go through. I also do a briefing as though they're in the White House, that when they come, the atmosphere is set up as though it's an after five business atmosphere. I have music and food and hors d'oeuvres. I can remember a young man coming up to me, Mrs. Magley, you got to help me. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Because I see these people, they're walking around, they have on black and white, and they're walking around and they have these trays of food, but I can't figure out where are they going? Where are they going with the food? They don't, they're just walking with these, where's the food going? And I said, those are the servers, those are hand passed hors d'oeuvres. And when the person walks by, you simply nod or place your hand out, and they will stop and allow you to get the food. But he did not understand that experience was important. He said, "Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I just didn't understand. I didn't know." But these things are experiences, and these events are experiences that they need to have, because they're going into a world that's not just basketball, it's business. Everything is business. And you need to know how to function, how to be appropriate, how to know your audience, how to approach someone. And that's why I have that interview, is because it allows them to have that experience. And I want to catch them off guard, but at the same time, I don't. I don't want to set them up for failure. That's why I pre-give them the information. Those that do not read the information will be in shock. But then that's a lesson to be learned also, that you need to read and learn the information. Anywhere that you're going, you need to be prepared. Whether it's on the court, and this is what, ironically, you said, he got on the court and he seemed so comfortable. I want that same young man to walk into a room that's a business setting where he has that same confidence. And the only way to get him to do that is to give the experience. I can talk about it all day long, but until they walk into a room with coaches all around them, general managers, our commissioner, our VP of business ops, executives that are walking around and talking and shaking hands, they need to experience that. And then I know I talk quite a bit, inside, but I have to tell you, at one event that I had called The Interview, the individuals were so overwhelmed that when the doors opened and there were hors d'oeuvres being passed, there was music, I had a jazz band going, that they literally walked in a straight line. Unbelievable. It was as though I'm in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally all walked in a straight line. No one said you had to follow the person in front of you,
Yeah.
but it was as though they couldn't branch out beyond themselves. Now, those that had been before in previous years came in and they knew to walk around. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want them to be comfortable in their own shoes in any environment they're placed in, and not just on a basketball with sweat dripping down off their face.
Yeah. It's amazing, what you're teaching in just this one aspect of everything you do, just this one tiny aspect of what the overall vision of your company. It's more than people get in schools 12 years, even 16 years. They don't leave with resumes. They don't leave with interview practice. They don't leave with how to have a handshake, how to dress professionally, what to do, how to interview the company you may be interested in. So what you're doing there is well beyond what I see in any schools. And it's really sad. These kids are graduating not prepared at all for the realities of life. And it's really because of organizations like yours and other organizations that are helping to prepare kids. Without it, they wouldn't get this.
Well, I taught music, and
Yeah.
there's two things they say that people they fear the most is speaking in front of a crowd, and I forgot what the other was. It's two things I don't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it is. But when I taught music, I feel as though when any student finished my classes, that they could come confidently into a room and boldly, singing in tune or off tune. And if they can sing in front of anyone, then they can speak in front of anyone. They can talk to anyone. Because if I can get them to overcome the fear of singing, imagine
Yeah.
having to sing by yourself. That's part of your final. You have to be able to sing in front of the classroom, or or perform, so to speak. If I can get them to overcome those fears, then when they are doing their dissertation or they have to speak, they're not singing. Nothing can be as frightening as that for some people.
True.
So the whole entertainment part of the experience is what I want these young men to have. And also, it's not just our players. We have dancers, we have statisticians that are utilizing our platform to critique themselves and to make themselves better, to be able to function at a higher level or go to a G League or an NBA. We've got dancers that or dancing with the Lebanon Leprechauns or the Kokomo Bobcats, and now they're dancing with the Indiana Pacers and also with the Colts football team. They're dancers for the Colts football team. We've got individuals that were with Potawatomi Fire. They're now with Oklahoma City Thunder. It's not just the players, the experience that our teams and our league bring to communities is there as a platform to build that community, to build confidence, to build individuals to hone in and critique themselves and become better in a safe place to be able to go out into the world and then positively impact other lives. And fortunately, we have a very sound financial literacy program that I feel confident in that's going to do exactly that when it comes to literacy in their finances. So it's it's an uphill battle. It's not easy. It's not going to happen in 1 year, 2 years. It's something that is growing over time, but we are getting momentum. And the life skills and all of these things will pan out in the years to come. It may not be immediate, but in the years to come, those communities are going to see a reflection of these young men and young women, and all the individuals are going to be impacting those communities because they are learning more and they're doing it in an environment that is safe.
I agree, and also entertaining, and you're creating financial education in these events, these experiential events that are entertaining. It doesn't feel like going into a classroom, and yet you may have some workshop and that core, but you're also integrating some entertainment aspects, the bands, the experience of
Yes.
actually being out there, experience of actually interviewing, talking with other people and building that community and relationship. So I think that, goes into the overall user experience. And I remember spending many hours on the phone with you talking about what's this experience throughout? What are we doing before, during, and after? How do we engage them at each touch point, which I think is critical. I see a lot of programs will just, send out maybe an email and then they expect people to attend and that's it, right? But
Mhm.
we were talking a lot about, hey, what's that marketing and promotions and messaging look like leading up? What do we do when we're there? How do we get creative? And you have very creative ideas about how you're running these various programs. And then how do we continue with the online learning in various workshop touch points at different stages? So,
Mhm.
I think you built a great user experience, but I don't think that would have been as successful if you did not have this rooted in the DNA of your organization. Meaning, we do a lot of workplace programs and different things where it's just coming in for a workshop and that's it, right? But I think the players and the teams of the coaches that you're attracting, they know about your organization. They know your values. It's about empowerment of the players of the community. They know that. So I think the messaging is aligned. It's not just, some random financial literacy program. What's Evelyn doing now? No, this is an overall program where each touch point you have with these players, the teams, the coaches, the referees, etc., is focused on those core values. So I think that messaging makes sense, and I think it feels very it flows together as opposed to just being some random piece. So I think that's a great thing you built in from the organization from the
Oh,
onset.
thank you. And well, it is important, Vince, um, that it is community. We're missing that. We've got, I don't have my phone here. I guess it's here now. I mean, this is this is what's going on.
Yeah, yeah,
And there is a disconnect. It's there's just a total disconnect.
yeah.
And we as human beings weren't really, this is my own opinion, and everybody doesn't may not agree, but I don't believe we were meant to be alone. I believe that disconnect is it's something that with the sports and bringing people together through basketball, they're still able to connect. That's what makes it so relevant, is that when you come to a game, people are actually connecting with what is going on the court and with people that are around them. And it is a total experience. And it takes a whole community to have that.
True.
I mean, I can yell and scream, and watch the football game. But I tell you, when I was with my mom last week and we were together in a room, this is just in a room. This is not even in a stadium. Just my mom and myself in a room. The game is just like 1,000 times better because we're both like, yeah, giving each other. There's that interaction, and so this game of basketball allows that to happen. That community to come together. That the platform comes together. That we can have partnerships with uh, NFEC. That we have a vision of positively impacting lives, and we're all working together. It's community. And I believe that when people see and understand that, there is a value that you cannot put a monetary value on it, because now we've got young people that if they kept looking at that phone, the depression is tripling. There's so much negativity that's going on in so many different ways, that when we're able to come off of being disconnected and connect in a real human way, uh, it just lightens up a community. And I see it happening wherever our teams are. The community people are coming in there, hey, so and so, they may come in with their phone, they may be walking, but when they get in, they're like, hey, how you doing? They're interacting, and the grandparents are bringing their children out. um, we're all learning and having a very human experience, and that's something that we need.
I agree, and I love how the players stay after and mingle with the crowd, and also
Yes,
it's
they're not
affordable.
untouchables.
You try to go to an NBA game, or you're going to be taking out a second mortgage. This is affordable. It brings families
Yes,
together. They can actually
yes,
go out for a night and experience that,
yes,
because things are expensive nowadays, right?
yes. And they can get popcorn and they can
Yeah,
get hot dogs and all of those things, where, to go to some of the more expensive games, and that's fine. That's
yeah,
not a competition, but
yeah,
my goodness, by the time if I have my four children, and my husband, we go out, that's about $600.
yeah, yeah,
By the time parking, the tickets, you got to get food, you got to
true.
wear something that's going
Yeah,
to be, with your team. And by the time you get in and walk past the vendors, etc., that's a $500, $600 night for a
yeah.
family of six.
And to this day, I can't tell the difference between a $20 hot dog and a $5 hot dog. So I don't know there might be some magic protein. I don't know, but I can't tell the difference. So, you know,
I know, and just, it's just affordable and it just makes sense. And on top of that, the community is connected with the players, because the players are working within community doing, youth clinics and working with, nonprofits and the Habitat for Humanity, and they're working with the geriatrics. They're going and doing exercises and
yeah,
just connecting, because we need one another. And, that reciprocal relationship just keeps going. They're supporting the community is supporting them. It's not just, oh, just come in and see these players that are going to be there for, 6 nights of 12 home games, and then you don't see them.
yeah.
They're really here in the community. So it makes it
Mhm.
so neat.
Yeah, no, I agree. And another thing that's very authentic with your DNA is this family, right? And just
Yeah.
looking at that, who you're working with, right? You have your husband, you have your daughter. I love how she calls you her mom
She's
manager.
yes, she is my momager.
She's
She's she's
a dynamo host. I mean, her social media is so entertaining. It's like, wow,
yes,
the mall
yes.
manager. I love that. But it just is I think the root of what you're doing, and it overflows into the attendees and so forth. And we have quite a few people that are actually doing financial education with a spouse, with a friend, with other family
Mhm.
members. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to have you share any ideas or why you thought that was good, and how you're making a bigger impact working together as a family unit.
Well, I believe anytime you're working together as a family, exponentially, there's going to be a positive outcome in that because uh, you're going to learn more. I think because you're able, you know who you're dealing with and you know who you're talking to. And it just, it helps people to come together more. I think that the idea that our players become intricate parts of the community makes it a joy to be able to participate in our games and come to the games. I know that as we're growing the league, one of the things we look for, and I know I mentioned it earlier, is that legacy part, is doing something in such a way that you're working with integrity, that there's no end to the positivity that you're making on people's lives. And when you do that with family, you're teaching your children to do the same, regardless of whether it's with basketball or whether I've got three other children that are involved but not involved totally within the league. I have three grandchildren that have been involved with TBL. I've got one is the CEO of Junior TBL, the other is the president of Junior TBL, and they meet weekly on things and initiatives that they can do for young people that don't have anything to do with basketball. I feel like if they can learn how, if we can spend money to have young people participate in art classes and basketball and soccer and all of these different sports, how about teaching them business, financial literacy? How do you run a business?
Yeah.
How do you
Mm.
design a basketball? How do you scale that? How much do you sell the basketballs for, and what will be your profit, and where are your margins? I mean, all of these things, if they can learn a play on how to run uh, the play for the quarterback, why not learn a play of business? I've
True.
got a granddaughter who is negotiating right now with me uh, for making bracelets, and she is serious. We have a agreement that she is looking over and going through and redlining to make certain that the language is appropriate. Why not?
True.
Legacy, legacy. And it can start anywhere. It can start with your players. Like I say, it can start with the dancers, it start with the scorekeepers. We're teaching skills that are needed for life. And one skill that is needed is a love for community, not to be disconnected, but really for me, I think, why am I on this earth? What is my purpose? I listened to you, Vince, when you talked about how you were disturbed to the point that you couldn't even sleep concerning people that were ready to hurt themselves because of the decisions and the choices that they made, not because they were dumb. They just didn't understand, to be financially literate, the right choices to make. And so instead of you just, oh, well, there, another one bites the dust, you did something about it. You took the skills and the knowledge that you have, you built a platform that is now impacting thousands of lives, and for generations will be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, over time. But you took your life and you did something positively with it. And those are the individuals that I want to put in front of the young men that are in our teams, that are have families, so that they can see that you can take a vision, something that's inside of you, that you see that people are having pain, and you can actually have an answer for that. And then take that and spread it. And that's what you're doing. And that's the beauty of all this. It's not just TBL, it's not just Basketball Super League. That it's great and it's wonderful, and we're impacting communities, but it's using the platforms, those I call it God-given gifts, and the passion that you have for people. I can't make you do that. That's something that's inside of you, Vince, that comes from, I think, on high. It's your gift. And instead of you selfishly using it for yourself to just, well, I'm helping them, but I'm working this 9 to 5. It's you
Yeah.
took great risk. And the work that you've put into this, people don't even know. They don't even know. So it's like, when I say people don't know what they don't know, they have no idea. But when people can see the finished product, T's are crossed, I's are dotted. Now you've got someone that sees the vision, that has a vision that says, this is perfect for the communities I'm going out into. And I want this a part of my life skills with financial literacy. This is what we're called to do. And that's why it's a great partnership to go and impact lives I'm using the basketball league to impact lives. You're using financial literacy. We're all positively impacting. But we also know to whom much is given, much is required. So we must follow through on what we say we're going to do, because otherwise we could be a problem.
Well said. I think we're cut from the same cloth there, Evelyn. We relate on a level of being entrepreneurs, relate on a level of working toward community good. It's just amazing what you've been able to do, and just it's really tough balance what you have, right? Where people can see you have a heart of gold, and you're able to run a company through earned respect. And watching the players, the coach, you've earned their respect through many different ways, but it's just amazing to see how you command every aspect of that organization are really leading down a path. This vision started with you, and you could have easily just said, hey, I'm going to create a basketball league. Let's focus on the bottom line. What's the revenue? What's the the profits, and focus there. And I think most organizations do. And maybe later, 5-10 years down the line, when they're doing financially well, they say, oh, we're going to add in this piece. Now we're going to add in this piece.
Yes.
But you from the outset took it. There's no model like this that I've seen. No model where a professional sports team has been built around empowerment of players, community service, helping these people develop in critical life skills, not only financial literacy, but these other skills. And you took a chance to build your vision, not just following what has worked for other organizations. And it's just an amazing testament to, you're every time I call you or we talk, you're in a different city, you're somewhere else. You're one of the hardest workers I know, and I appreciate that. That's a skill set all on its own. You could easily be, feet up, watching basketball games, relaxing on the couch now, but instead you've tackled this major multi-year expansive project across continents. And just doing some amazing things.
Well, I will tell you, Vince, it's just an honor to serve. And that's what I feel that I'm on this earth for, is to serve and impact lives. And I loved when I taught, and then I retired in 2011. But I love my students, and I want to make a positive impact on their lives and get them as far as I could get them for the amount of time that I have them. So a lot of these players, I don't have them a lot. I mean, it's sound bites, Vince. This is sound bites.
Yeah.
It's me getting in front of a group and I have 10 minutes to say something that's, You know, what and how do you do that? So you have to be real, you have to be transparent, but you also have to care. And I just love these young men. I believe that the passions that they have in their heart are placed there for purpose. And I am doing what I feel that I've been led to do on this earth, like you've been doing. And when you do that, you'll meet the right people to accomplish what is supposed to be accomplished, and nothing can stop you.
Nothing can stop us. Let's do it.
Nothing.
Let's do it. Yeah, motivational for everybody out there. I know a lot of people are listening, thinking about this, and I think listen to Evelyn. It's like it's the world needs you, right? And this maybe maybe it's another calling, maybe it's not finding whatever the calling is, but the world needs you. I'm really appreciative of your time here, Evelyn. I know you're very busy. It's always been an honor to work with you, and please let people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can watch games streaming everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to share with how people can get in contact with you here.
Well, for our website, we're at thebasketballleague.net, as in hoops.
Makes
And
sense.
then Basketball Super League is basketballsuperleague.com. And then you can follow us, of course, on social media, T Basketball League or Basketball Super League. You can follow us there uh, on Instagram, Facebook, etc. And you can find out more about us by going to our website and learning exactly what we do and how we impact lives. And it's got a good model that actually, when it's built and you're within the community, it's a model that works, that is self-sustaining. And so that is very important, especially as an investment. So we love community, but we also understand money. So
Very
that's
true.
that's something that we want to do, and bring streams of revenue into communities and show individuals that want to invest exactly how to do that.
I love it. And I know you're doing some great work with all of these teams, and it's just been a true honor to be here with you. Check out their social for some great highlights. Visit their website to see where the teams are. There's probably one in your community. How many teams are you at right now, Evelyn?
We have 38 teams in the Basketball League, TBL. We had 6 teams in our inaugural year for 2024 in Basketball Super League. And we think we'll have anywhere between 8 to 10 teams in Basketball Super League.
Wow,
And the Basketball League, we will have in excess of 38. So
that's awesome.
we're closing on some deals right now with a few teams that are coming in, a few communities that are interested. We've got investors that are looking, and investors that are looking in some of our teams that they've been watching. So if you want to sponsor a team, go to our website, look up the team, and they are worth investing in because they are bringing great things to that community with the platform of basketball that they have.
I agree. It's not just sports for you, it's that community connection. You're the only professional sports league that bridges that gap that I've seen in a meaningful way. Not just like, oh, we have this, we'll have this. You've done it in a meaningful way.
Thank
Again,
you.
it's been an honor to talk with you here, Evelyn, and I look forward to many years of continued working together.
Thank you so much, Vince. And we look forward to a continued partnership within FEC and positively impacting lives through financial literacy and changing their lives forever.